Some of you may have heard of the new anti-flipping rule the CRA is planning on implementing on January 1st, 2023. Now today I'm going to dive into what that looks like, what the old rule was, and how this may affect you as an investor or even as a homeowner here in Calgary. If you are new to the channel and you want to know absolutely everything there is to know about Calgary, click that subscribe button and click the notification bell if you want to be the first to know about the current market report here in Calgary. Also click the like button because this will push the video forward to more people like yourself thinking about making a move. My name's Adriel with the Greater YYC Group, and we get calls, we get texts, we get emails every day from people just like you thinking about making the move. And you know what? We absolutely love to help. So as I've mentioned, the CRA is planning on implementing the new flipping rule. And for those of you who are not familiar with flipping, it's typically when you secure a home, you do some renovations, put in some sweat equity into the home, force the appreciation, and then sell it for a profit. Now, generally, if this is your primary residence, you can put 5% down, do any renovations that you need to do while living in the property, force in the appreciation, and then you can sell it and be exempt from capital gains. You're normally exempt under the principal residence exemption. This allows you to hold on to 100% of the profits of the property. Of course, you have to pay realtor fees and closing costs, but generally you wouldn't have to pay capital gains. And the CRA is now implementing a rule that could affect this. Don't take my word for it. Let's jump onto the laptop and have a look at some articles outlining what exactly is going to take place. So let's get into it. So the article says here, the CRA is already challenging real estate transactions ahead of new anti-flipping rules. So this is not just speculation, guys. This will be coming into effect. Let's have a look and see. So it says Canada's new anti-flipping rule for residential real estate are scheduled to come into force on January 1st, 2023. This is happening, and it says this is to reduce speculative demand in the marketplace and help to cool excessive price growth. So, again, they want to really stabilize prices. I think more so this is going to affect Toronto because prices have really gone up, and Vancouver much higher than they are here in Calgary. So it says the new tax law will disallow the use of the principal residence exemption to shelter the capital gain realized on the sale of your home if you've owned it for less than 12 months. So if you've owned it for less than a year, allowing for certain exemptions such as death, disability, separation, and work relocation. So instead, the gain will be 100% taxable as business income. So this is what's going to take place beginning January 1st. So it's something to note. And let's get into some other articles here. So how does this compare to the current rules that are in place? So this is just a quick outline. If you sell a property, depending on the situation, the gain is treated as fully taxable business income or as capital gain, which is 50% taxable. If the property qualifies as a principal residence, the gain may be reduced or actually completely eliminated by claiming the principal residence exemption. So in these cases here, if it's your principal residence, you could pay literally zero tax. Of course, I always recommend speaking with a tax lawyer or a real estate accountant to offer advice. This is not tax advice. Always seek a professional, but based on the information here, this is what is currently in place. Under the new rule, a flipped property will be deemed as business income and fully taxable. No principal exemption would be available to reduce the tax. So this rule applies to gains. Individuals cannot report a business loss on a property just because it meets the definition of a flipped property. So again, this is just something to keep in mind, and a flipped property will be a property that is held for less than 12 months. So there are obviously exclusions as we've outlined before. Here's some more details into some of those exceptions: death of the taxpayer, related person joining the household, breakdown of marriage or common law partnership of the taxpayer, threat to personal safety, disability, eligible relocation, involuntary termination of employment, insolvency of the taxpayer, So there are exceptions here to keep in mind. But to conclude, the takeaway is if you've owned the property within the year and you've sold it, the assumption is going to be made that this is a flipped property unless the exceptions apply. So guys, you definitely have to keep this in mind next year and moving forward. If you're going to be a homeowner, obviously things happen, but it's good to get as much information as possible to help you make the best decision possible. Now, as you can see, guys, this will be coming into effect January 1st, 2023. Now, there are pros and cons to this depending on which side you're on. If you're an investor or if you're a homeowner, there are pros and cons for both sides. Now, if you are an investor, you definitely have to approach things differently now, because typically during a flip, you hold onto it for less than a year. Now, I always recommend speaking with a tax lawyer or a real estate accountant to help advise on the best steps moving forward, and maybe even your recommended mortgage broker. We do have mortgage brokers that we work with that specifically help investors. I know one particularly that's helped investors, especially if a deal is taking longer than anticipated. There are ways to maybe get out of using a private lender and transitioning to a B lender while you get a renter in there. There are different ways, creative ways, to be able to get around holding onto the property for more than 6 months, even a year. So definitely reach out to us if that's something you're interested in. Also, definitely check the market trends. You want to factor in how long the deal will take, and also factor in the ARV, the after repair value, to make sure you know how much you're going to profit, because you have to factor in the taxes now into your costs. Now, if you are planning on buying a home to live in long term, this definitely plays into your court, because you can definitely hold onto it for more than 12 months. You don't have to worry about capital gains. You can put the minimum down payment of 5%. If you want to do the renovations, you can over at least a year, and you'll be able to benefit from this. Now, if you have any more questions, or if you would like to be connected with a recommended mortgage broker, feel free to reach out to myself. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Again, my name is Adriel, and I'm here to make real estate your reality. I'll see you in the next video.